So here, click on new project. Click on new project. So, and here we have a lot of options here. So what I'm going to select, I'm going to select here web and any platform. So the framework we need to select .NET Core MVC. So either we can go for Erasure Pages or Model View Controller. So I'll go with ASP.NET Core MVC. Okay. So I'll select this MVC, click on next. So, and I have to give the application name. MVC Web-App Core. Eight, something like this. You can give, and don't give any spaces in between the project. Okay, so click on next. So here I'll select .NET 8. I have .NET Core 8 framework. So whatever versions you have, you can select your respective versions. So who is having earlier versions? 6, 7, anything. Okay. So right now I have 8. I'll go with the 8. So I'll select 8 and click on create. So this is going to create our .NET Core MVC web application. Okay. So now, so once it is created, so the first thing we need to know about in program.cs, this is the startup file. Here we will be calling like home index. This is our home controller. By default, it will go to index action. So when you run the application first time, it will go to home index action. Okay, likewise, now I want to create one more controller and view. How to create? First, let's go with model. Okay, I am going to create one model. How to create model? Right click on the models folder and add class. Okay, class name. I'll give like a something like product. Okay, product. Click on add. So here you have to give your public int product ID. You get set name, description, name, description, price, MRP, MFG date, manufacture date. and expiry date. So this is date. So like this, I'm going to create properties. Okay, product ID. So which is to store your ID of the product and then name, description, and then price. What is the price of the product? And then MRP, max retail price, and then date, manufacture date. So for this, I'll use date time to store the date and time for manufacturing date of the product. Again, one more date, expiry date, expiration of the product when it is going to expire. So this is how we are going to create the product details. Now, this is done. So what next? Okay, so we have created the model. What next? We have to create the controller. How to create controller? Go to controllers folder, right click, add controller. So here we'll use MVC5 controller empty. Let's create empty only. Okay, click on add. So here home controller one like that it will come. Remove that one and instead of home, let's add manage product controller. Manage product. Manage product controller dot cs. And why we took empty? So let's add by our own. Okay, so everything. So click on add. It will add the controller. So now by default it will give like this one index action. So what I do first, I'll make it as a create. Okay, create or add. Just add. Create or add. So let's go with create only for now. So later we'll see redynamic things. So this is created. Okay, now what happened? So we have created this. Right click. So copy this name first. Copy this name. Right click. Add view. Razor view empty. Take empty only. Click on add. So here also I'll take razor view empty. Now why we have copied that action name, just paste it here before .cs html. click on add. So it is going to create a empty view for us now. And here, for now, we can give something like this. H1 means header 1, create or add product. So like this, we'll give one tag. So now we have created the add product, created the model, queue, and controller. So what next? The main important thing related to your database related thing. So to do the scaffolding, we need namespaces. What are the namespaces we have to add? So we have to add. So here we'll go to add those packages. We'll go to tools menu. Okay. Here you will get NuGet package manager. So package manage NuGet packages solution, second option. Click on that. So click on browse, search for it. Entity framework core. Entity framework core. Search for it. Okay, so here you will see entity framework 8.0.6. So let me see whether it is compatible. If it is compatible, we'll go with this. Let's see. Select this option and click on not installed. Okay. Click on select this project. Click on install. If there is any compatible issues, it will tell. Now click on apply. Click on accept. So it's got installed entity framework core. So this is one thing. Next, entity framework core dot tools. Okay. So in this, we have to do install this. So click on apply. Click on I accept. So next, design. Click on install. Click on apply. Click on I accept. So what are the packages we have installed? Core, tools, design, and .SQL server. This is one more package. So take this 8.0.6, install this as well. .SQL server. Play. I accept. So now we have installed all the packages. So next, so go to your solution. Go to your project, right click, add new folder. Add new folder. Right click, add new folder. Folder name, give like data. So data we will give. Okay, click enter. So now right click on the data, add class. Okay, here what I do, class name, I'll give like AB first take the data context. So this is the context class where you are going to keep all your entities, nothing but your models in the code, which should interact with the database, which should form into tables in the database. So those things, everything will be doing inside the context file. And this context file will give interact between your application and database. You no need to do any operations with the data context. Now everything will do with the, database, everything will do with the context file itself. So now we are doing code first approach. So we have different approaches. Here we are going with the code first approach now. So in this code first approach, what we do, step one. So let me tell you the steps what we did. .NET 8, what we are doing, .NET 8 CRUD operations with entity .NET 8 MVC CRUD operations with entity framework core code first approach with SQL Server. So in this, what we did, created a model. Next, created a controller, added the action and respective view for it. Now install the packages. What are the packages? Entity framework and entity framework core. Core dot tools. Core dot design. Core dot SQL Server. Okay, so these are the packages we have installed. Next, create a data context file. Okay, so inside this, okay, add a derived from. So in this there are data context file we are created. Okay, so we should derive from I data context or IDB context. So just DB context, which is using your entity framework core namespace. Inside the DB, T capital, B small. Okay. So now this is derived from your core. Just down, guys. Add this namespace. So what we are doing, derived from DB context class and add a constructor. How to add constructor? Public AB first, DB context. So this is your constructor. Now here, what I do, DB context of your DB context options column base options DB context options DB context options of your context. So like this, we'll add the constructor. So here DB context options of your context colon base options like this. So like this, we'll create the constructor. So once we have added this constructor, and here we are saying base options means deriving from base options. So this is your constructor. So once this is done, so here we have added the constructor successfully. Now we need to add the DB set. How to add DB set? Come down here after your constructor. Public. So why public? I should able to access outside of the class. Public DB set. So what is this DB set? DB set, which is an entity, can be used to query and save instance of T entity. Linky queries against the DB set entity will be translated into queries against the database. So that's why we'll use this DB set. Okay, so here DB set of, you have to register your model. What is your model? Product. Product is our model. Okay, So I have added like this. So automatically a namespace will come. So our application dot models. If you are not remember, go here inside the model. You could able to see this is our entity class model. Whatever model we have created, that is nothing but our entity class. We have to register here. So now we have added the DB set and DB set. So this is step 5. Next, step 6, add connection string in app setting .json. We have to add the connection string. So how to add connection string? Go to your app setting.json. So where how to find C in the solution explorer, we could able to see app setting.json. Double click that. So it will open it like this. Okay, once it's open, after this allow host, come on, enter double quotes connection string. If you just give the double quotes, it will give you the connection string by default. Click connection string, enter. So now here, give like this, or yeah, enter brackets like this, colon. So here I will add my connection string. So what is my connection string in? Like default connection. So you have to add your server name. Server equals, what is your server? How to come to know your server? Here, go to your SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. So this is your server name. Copy this. For each system, since we are using local, we will be having different server names. Make sure that we copied correctly. Okay. So this is your server name. So copy this. Yes. Yes, Sanjeev. Yes, Sanjeev, tell me. Yes, ma'am. Very good. Yes. Server name. Next, database. Database equals to, you can give whatever database you want. So for example, I want to create my own database. AB first. DB new or latest. Something like this. I want to give my new different database name. So that I want to create a new database also. Right? So next, uh, database and trusted connection equals to true and encrypt equals to false. So anything else? Integrated security true. Trusted connection is also not mandatory, but This we have to give. Why this integrated security true? Because we are going with Windows authentication. That's why we'll give this integrated security equals to true and encrypt false. So false by default. Why? Because this will allow the connections on development machine, whereas the local server we won't be having any valid certificates, right? When we run locally, we won't be having any valid certificates. That's why we will use trusted, encrypt false. If we have any server certificate, then we can make encryption as true. That's the reason why we made it as false here. Encrypt false. Okay. So this is how we'll add the connection string here. So next, this connection we have to add in the program.cs. Okay, added the connection string in app setting.json. Okay, call the connection string or add or call the connection string in program.cs. Okay, so now how to add? Let's go there. Program.cs. So here builder dot services dot go to your program.cs. So here we have to add connection string. So after builder line number 4, click enter. And one more thing, guys. Okay. In the model, what is your model? Go to your model, which is your product. Go to your model. Here, how you want table name? So for example, I want table. What name I want? I can specify here. Product. So it's not mandatory. For example, your class name is different, table you want different. In this case, we'll use like this. And this is important. You have to give a key attribute. So which is derived from your system.componentModel.data annotation. So click enter. Why this key attribute? It acts as your primary key. Okay, and by default, identity will be set to this. If you don't want, we can off that. So this key is important in entity framework. So based on this key, it is going to sort out the data. So based on this, it is going to add this. So this key is derived from system.data annotations, component model.data annotation. So now we'll go to your program.cs again, back to so builder.services dot we have to add your db context dot add DB context, first option. Okay. So here you are going to specify your context name. What is your context name? Search for it. For me, I created like AB first tech DB context. Add your context and open bracket, options, implies lambda expression. Enter this. Option start. Use SQL server. So since we are using SQL server, we'll use the SQL server. Now here again, builder dot option start or builder dot configuration dot get connection string. So here you're going to add your connection string name. So here also let's give the semicolon, and here the connection string name we have to copy from your app setting.json. So same connection string name you will give it here. So this is the step. In this step, what we did? So we go to program.cs, builder.services.add db context, and you will specify your db context name. The options we are using SQL server. By this SQL server, since we are using SQL server as database, that's the reason we will use SQL server. So if you have some other database, for example, Postgres or some other things, we need to add different package, and here we need to select different option. So now builder dot configuration dot get connection string. So what is this get connection string? Is the method to get the connection string what you have specified in the string name, connection string name. This will get the connection string from your app setting.json. Understood, guys? Any doubts till now? We have completed the 8 steps, 7 steps now. So next, we have to do the migration. What is migration? We'll call it as a data migration. Migration. So what is this migration? Migration is going to use the database schemas to keep syncing with our application. So what is our application? Model DB context will do update the database. It is going to syncing with the application. Whatever changes you do in the application, same thing is going to reflect in the database. So now, we need to execute the migration commands. How to execute migration commands? Let's see now. So how to execute migration command? See guys, carefully. Go to Tools menu. So here NuGet Package Manager. So first option, Package Manager Console. You go here. NuGet Package Manager Console. Click that. You will get this option. Package Manager Console. And how to do this? What we need to do? Add migration. Add migration. So any name we can give first. So what you do after giving this, we'll click on enter. Any name you can give. Why I gave first migration. It's anything, okay? Or AB first. So first time I am doing this, adding this migration. I am going to specify some name. Why this name? When you want to revert, this name will be helpful. Click enter. It will build the solution. It will check is there any build started. So what's happening now? It is building the solution. It is checking whether is there any build errors are there or not. If any build errors, it will let you know. So now build succeeded without any errors. Now it will check the connection string in the database in the app setting.json as we give correctly or not. So if we don't have any issues with the connection string, it is going to add your migration. Yes, it is added. See guys here, like this, it is adding in the database. It is going to create columns like this. Now, let me go and see the database. So what is your database name? AB first latest DB. AB first DB latest. Connect this. Expand. We could able to see. We are not able to see now. Why? Because we are just added the migration. Now, what you need to do? Migration. Add migration. Something like this. Then second important thing, we have to do the update database. This we have to do. So how to do that? After this, we'll go to package manager console. We have added the migration. Come down at end, type this update hyphen database. Hit hyphen, not underscore, hyphen database. Click enter. It also do the build. Once build succeeded, it is going to update in the database. Yes. See guys, here you could able to see how the script got generated. Create table, product ID, name, description, price, MRP, manufacture date, expiration date. Okay. And key constraint, primary keyword, product ID, like this. Now go to your database. So right click on the databases. Click on refresh. So now if we expand this, we could able to see our database got created. So if you expand this database, there will be a tables folder, right? Expand the tables, we could able to see our table, which is product table. In top, we could able to see entity framework, migration history, and this is our table. Okay. So now table got created. What next? We have to do the insert to this database. Before that, what you need to do? Let's go here, go to your controller, manage product. Controller, manage product controller is there. Double click that. Okay. So here we have added the create action. Okay. So go to this view, go to view. Right click on the action. Right click and go to view. So it will go to the view which we have created. Okay. Now here go to top at model small m space. This is to add the model, which is nothing but your view model. Okay, here you have to write your application name. What is your application name? MVC Core Web App Core. MVC Web App Core 8. Type your MVC Web App. Click enter. Dot models. Enter. Dot your model product. Select this. Okay, now come down here. I'll use a eraser design now. Okay, div class or style equals background color and equal white. So I want to keep everything inside my this div. So I have added one div here. Now inside the div, we'll add our so this is important. Now we'll use a bootstrap design. Div class equals row means it act like a row. So once added this div class equals column MD6 and inside this we'll write a label at HTML dot label for T implies T dot product ID. So this is row 6. You will take one more row. So the total row columns will be 12. We can divide into 6 6 or 3 4s or 4 8 8 4, like that. 12 columns. The end one row which is equals to 12 columns. This is bootstrap design. Column MD. So here we will be having MD, SM, LG, like 3 different options. By default, I'm using MD here. Okay. So now inside this, we have added the label, and here instead of that, we'll add the text box for product ID. So product ID you don't need. Why? Because it's going to insert automatically. Instead of that, we'll use name, because that is the identity column. So just use the name. Okay, similarly, add one more row for name, then description. Like this, add it for all the fields. Just copy this entire row, paste it here, paste, paste, description, paste. So name, description, what else? And MRP, price, then manufacture date. It's very date. So either you can take text box for, or so right now let it be text box for only. Later we'll see different options. Okay. And finally, you'll add one more row with buttons. So this will keep blank, and here two buttons I'll add. Input type equals to submit, value equals to submit or save. One more button, button type button. Button type won't submit the form. Input type submit, it is going to submit the entire form. So like this, we'll add the values. 2 minutes, guys. So till now, we have did this one. And what we need, everything I want to keep inside a form. Yesterday we have seen like at HTML dot begin form. So inside this, or you can keep inside the using. So why this using? This is to keep everything inside this block. Using block. We have seen the advantages of using block, which is going to clean up automatically after its end. Begin form. So here you have to specify your action name, controller name, and then form method. Form method dot post. Okay. So if you see this, we have create actions. Like this, I will create one more action. So this action, I'll specify it's a post. HTTP post. This is called attribute. Post attributes we get. So what is the action? Create. We have to specify here inside the action name. And what is your controller name? Manage product. So this is the controller name. We will specify here. So now come to your controller. Okay. What we did, we have created one more action. And for this, we have specified the attribute as HTTP post. Why this post? Usually for insert, update, delete, we will be having different attributes. Usually this post we will be using for insert operation. And here, add your model. What is your model? Your model is nothing but your product model you add and use the object name. Thank you. So now this is our create action. So here we have to implement our dependency injection. How to write dependency injection? Click enter here. Private read only. So private read only. Your context name. What is your DB context name? So this is your DB context name, right? AB first take DB context. Create object for it. AB first take DB context. I'll give underscore context. Some name we will give. And same thing, we have to create a controller. How to create controller? Constructor public manage product controller. So this is your constructor, right? Inside the constructor also we will pass same thing. We will first context. So we'll create one read-only variable and the constructor. We will just inject it. How to inject? Underscore context equals context. This is your dependency injection. Just one guess. So next, so now we have added in the constructor. So now how to add the entries here? Underscore context dot your table name products dot add your model name, entity, object, product. And this is do the add, and we have to do the commit. For that, we'll do the save changes, which will insert to your database. Now, where you want debugger, right? So manage product is your controller name, and go to your program.cs, change the route, default route, home action is the index is there, and I'll change it to manage product controller name, and action name change it to instead of index we'll change it to create. This is both are same only, but this method we are calling there from the program.cs. Okay, so now once you run this, run your application, run the application, and as we discussed, it will come to first method. So here we are going to redirect to the view. From this action we are redirecting to the view. So now click on continue.